Hello, everyone. So today I'm gonna present a work called Dynamic Component Sampling and Beyond. So can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So maybe let's get started. So the thing is, uncertainty estimation is crucial for AI safety problems and reinforcement learning. And this draws our attention to Markov chain Monte Carlo methods. So Markov chain Monte Carlo is known for its abilities in non-convex optimization and multimodal sampling. And it gives us better point estimate and better uncertainty estimations. So imagine you are using deep neural network to classify between dogs and cats. And if you only do optimization, then when an image of elephant comes in, so the image comes from out of the distribution of cat and dog. In that case, if you don't have the probability to model the prediction, the prediction is not reliable at all. So this is the reason why uncertainty estimation is important. So a standard method is called Langevin diffusion, which is a stochastic differential equation. Here, beta t is a parameter at the time t, and u is the energy function, and wt is the Brownian motion, tau is the temperature. So given t large enough, then the parameter converges to the stationary distribution. You see, like the temperature here is quite important. For example, if you apply a large temperature, the probability is very flat. In this case, the convergence is faster, but it's not optimal in optimization. On the contrary, if you apply a small temperature, then the probability mass will be concentrated around the global optima. So somehow it can facilitate the optimization, but the drawback is, the energy barrier becomes larger. So there is always a trade-off. In addition, we want to apply that algorithm to big data problems for more promising applications. But evaluating gradient in big data is too costly. So naturally, we can use the stochastic gradient Langevin dynamics algorithm, which replaces the stochastic gradient with the exact gradient with the stochastic gradient. It's known that as time t goes to infinity and the linear rate goes to 0, this parameter beta t converges weakly to the stationary distribution. So to see what's the application of this algorithm, let's see an example. For example, right now we have a distribution. Here there are 9 modes, and this distribution is apparently non-convex. So if you simulate this distribution, you see that most of the particles get stuck in local region, right? It can be hardly traversed from one region to another. So it's not efficient enough. And our target is certainly to accelerate the simulation. One of the most promising methods so far is called the replica exchange method, also known as parallel tampering. I think most of the professors may have heard of that algorithm before. So this algorithm is very promising. To warm up a little bit, this algorithm proposes multiple processes. For example, right now we have 2 processes. The red curve denotes the high temperature process for exploring the whole domain. The low temperature process, indicated by the blue curve, exploits the local region. So if we don't swap the parameters, they only have exploration or exploitation. So that's not good enough, right? So we somehow have to swap the parameters. In that case, we can obtain both abilities. Mathematically, if we consider 2 Langevin diffusions with 2 different temperatures, here tau1 is larger, tau2 is smaller, and then we swap the positions based on the probability following this form. Note that this probability gives us follows the Metropolis-Hastings form, and it enables us to converge to the distribution like this, and the desired distribution for the marginal distribution will be the desired distribution we want. But the thing is, this is the standard algorithm in traditional area. But if we apply it to big data problems, that's not trivial at all. For example, you can naively extend the exact gradient with stochastic gradient, right? But you may not naively extend the energy function with the stochastic energy. because be careful that there is a nonlinear transformation modeled by the exponential part. So that means if you naively extend that algorithm to big data, you're gonna introduce a larger bias. So to handle that issue, we propose in a paper published in SML 2020, we suggested the unbiased stochastic swapping rate to satisfy the detailed balance in a stochastic sense. Meaning, for example, if the energy function follows a Gaussian distribution, then we introduce a correction as follows. In that case, we can construct the unbiased jump rate. And the contribution of this paper is we introduce the first Markov jump process where the gradient is unbiased and the jump rate is also unbiased. So this algorithm, despite the promising properties, the variance actually is very large in big data problems, and this requires an excessively large correction and may affect the swapping efficiency. For example, right now, we can introduce some jumps, right? And the jumps helps us exploring the multimodal distribution quite well, but the jump rate is not efficient enough, and that somehow affects our simulation. So the next question is, can we improve that performance? And the answer is yes. We published the paper in SALR 21 and proposed the first energy-based variance reduction method to obtain a better energy estimator. If we go before, if the variance of this energy estimator is smaller, then we introduce a smaller correction, and this will improve the swapping efficiency exponentially more. And in that case, we can propose exponentially more effective swaps. And as you can see in the right figure, right now the traversing the whole landscape become much more efficient. But is this good enough? Still not now. So right now, let's focus on the main presentation today. So it's called the Contour Stochastic Gradient Longevity Dynamics, published in Neurops 20. So this algorithm is an important sampling algorithm. For non-convex energy function Ux with density like this, the standard sampling algorithm, as you see before, it converges quite slowly, exponentially slowly. So to speed up the simulation, in addition to using the mechanism of jumps, we can also consider the mechanism of important sampling. That is, if we want to approximate the expectation of some test function based on the density, the original density pi x. But when pi x is hard to simulate, it's hard to approximate the expectation, right? So instead, we can consider an important sampling strategy, which is we propose a new density and with an additional importance weight. So if this distribution is proven easier to simulate, and if we can get the importance weight, then naturally we can accelerate the simulation much faster, right? So the key question becomes like how to construct such a distribution which is proven easier to simulate. And the answer is we consider a flat distribution. For example, in a Gaussian mixture distribution, the green energy function has a very high energy barrier. So imagine like you have a Brownian motion over this mode, and it's gonna take exponentially more time to escape this mode to another mode. So this means sampling based on this energy function is not efficient enough. But what if you can construct a flat energy function with a much shallower barrier, right? In this case, you can imagine like the particle will move randomly in this region much freely. So this builds like the key part of this algorithm. And we want like to build such a flat distribution. To achieve this target, we partition the sample space X into M subregions, and then we divide by the original density with some importance weight. So imagine like in some region with larger probability mass, we divide it by a larger number, and otherwise we divide it by a smaller number. So it turns out if we have an optimal estimate like the energy PDF, then if we can obtain this optimal theta star, then that means we can penalize the overweighted regions with a larger weight and penalize the less overweighted regions with a smaller weight. And eventually we're gonna achieve a random walk in the space of energy, and the simulation will be exponentially accelerated as long as theta star is known. But yeah, the key to accelerating Monte Carlo simulations right now is to obtain an estimate of theta star. But you know, theta star is not known before we do the simulations. So how about we try a naive idea, like we first run the standard algorithm long enough times and obtain a crude estimate theta height. In that case, we fix theta height and simulate the flight distribution based on this theta height. But the thing is, you know, if we can get an accurate theta height, then that means the simulation is not hard at all. And actually, it's very difficult to obtain a good estimate of theta height. And that strategy is apparently not efficient enough. So we do this through stochastic approximation. We consider the idea of adaptive unbounded sampling idea through stochastic approximation. Namely, we conduct a half sampling, a half optimization algorithm. We first do a sampling based on some fixed theta k and do an optimization as follows. We expect that the sampling will contribute to the estimation of theta k, contribute to the estimation of the latent variable, and the better latent variable will contribute to the simulation. So the goal of a stochastic approximation is to find the solution to the mean field equation. And in what follows, well, this algorithm is inspired by the famous Van Lender algorithm published in Physical Review Letters in 2001. And this has achieved the tremendous successes in statistical physics and bioinformatics. It's like the best sampling algorithm for simulating multimodal distributions. But in big data, it's not discovered at all. And at that time, the transition kernel is based on metropolis system. But you know, in big data, we need the long-driven kernel. So right now we have two major challenges to tackle. The first one is when we extend that algorithm to big data, we suffer from the vanishing gradient problem. The second one is the theoretical analysis is harder, so we don't know when it fails and when it works. So to tackle the first problem, we recall that the distribution is constructed based on the original distribution divided by some piecewise constant. So you know, when we take the gradient over piecewise constant, like you take the gradient of this constant, it gives you 0 almost everywhere, right? So that means piecewise constant is definitely not a good idea. And in such a case, the purpose of unbounded sampling fails. To tackle that issue, we can consider piecewise continuous construction as follows. In that case, we can have a desired gradient, adaptive gradient in this form. To summarize, we can, like, based on a fixed estimate of theta k, we can propose an adaptive gradient as follows. And to improve the estimation of theta k, we'll propose the stochastic approximation scheme like this. So this is a half sampling and half optimization algorithm. So in the long-term limit, we expect that the algorithm will achieve some equilibrium, that the optimization will become stationary, and the sampling algorithm will also reach the stationary distribution. So we need to, like, let's show how the algorithm works. First, for the standard algorithm, when we apply that algorithm to a Gaussian mixture example, most of the particles will get stuck in a local region, right? You can hardly escape from one mode to another. For our algorithm, in the beginning, it performs very similar to the standard SGLD algorithm because the latent variable is not well estimated. But in the middle image, in the middle stage, when the latent variable is better estimated, then we can somehow over penalize the region that has been overly visited. So as long as we over visit this region, the penalty will increase. And then eventually we're gonna introduce some smaller or even negative linear rate. You know, the standard linear rate is positive, right? We now even have a negative linear rate in low energy regions to propose some bouncy force to move this, to force this particle jump out of this region. So this is the key strategy of this unbounded sampling algorithm, and no one has discovered this kind of behavior before. And eventually, when we reach the equilibrium, in low energy regions, it's gonna have a very large probability to introduce the bouncy moves, and this will help us facilitate the estimation of the multimodal distribution. For a more dynamic illustration, we simulated the same multimodal distribution as follows. And right now we get stuck in this local mode. Well, so as we keep staying in this local mode, you see in the right figure, the penalty of visiting this local mode will increase. So it will increase until there is some bouncy force to help this, to force this particle jump out of this region. And now the particle gets stuck in a second region. And the bouncy force in this region corresponds to the middle part. If we keep continue doing this, the penalty of visiting this region will keep increasing until it forces the particle to move, to jump outside of this local trap. So this is the key strategy of this algorithm for multimodal simulations. So maybe, yeah. So the next challenge is to obtain a better analysis of this algorithm. And to better understand the theory, since there is not enough time, I'll only give you a brief introduction of the proof. So the first part is we need to identify the stability of the mean field system. For the stochastic approximation process, it's essentially tracking a mean field system, which is an ordinary differential equation. And if we are able to analyze the limiting behavior of the ODE system, we can get a better understanding of the property of the solution. For the second part, the evolution includes not only the dynamics of the mean field system, not only the martingale noise, but also the state-dependent noise. So that's the part that's hard to analyze. So the perturbation, to regularize the perturbation, we need to regularize the regularity of the solution of Poisson equation to control the perturbations. And for the third part, having the stability and the regularity verified, we can show the convergence of the self-adapting parameters. And notably, our algorithm converges to a unique point, a unique fixed point, regardless of the non-convexity of the distribution. And this is very appealing because our target is try to accelerate the simulation of multimodal distributions. If the latent variable has the local trap issue, for example, like the EM algorithm, it can get stuck in a local mode, then we don't trust the estimation at all. So this is kind of appealing for this algorithm. So no matter the distribution is convex or non-convex, multimodal or single modal, the latent variable only has a single latent vector. For the third part, we analyze the convergence of the weighted averaging estimators. Okay, so this is all about the theoretical analysis. Let's talk about the extensions. So that algorithm can be naively extended to a naive parallel scheme with p-chains. And we also conduct a simple Monte Carlo average for the stochastic approximation process. So the advantage is that by proving the asymptotic normality of the process, we can show that this interacting algorithm, this parallel algorithm, can be theoretically more efficient than a single algorithm with, for example, p times longer training time. And it can be naturally adapted to distributed computing with little overhead because unlike the large model parameters, the latent vector is like thousands of times or smaller in the dimension. So here is a demo to show how this algorithm works. For example, for replica exchange method, we proposed in the previous part, when it comes to multiple chains, the efficiency of communication is not that good. But for our algorithm, we only share a light message, and the communication is much more efficient. So here is an example.
So just in the interest of time, if you could wrap up in about 30 seconds.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, let's say an example, like we do this on an MNIST dataset. You know, if you want to get reliable predictions, you need to obtain information from multiple modes. But both SGD and SGLD get stuck in a local region. That means your prediction for uncertainty is very unreliable. By contrast, our algorithm can traverse multiple modes with high energy barriers. So that's a very appealing property. And that shows the potential of uncertainty estimation for image data in large-scale problems. And we also conducted it in CIFAR-10 and SVHN and obtained good accuracy and uncertainty estimation. Yeah, so this ends my presentation today, and thanks for your attention.